Hello, it's April Lee. I just wanted to do a quick video, a check-in video. The last video I uploaded, I honestly don't even remember what it was on, but I haven't made a YouTube video in a little while. I've been sticking to more of Instagram for the daily type of thing. And then I had started the TikTok, doing more of the just biblical things and whatever, the Lord had guided me to share that day. And I was going through a phase where I have stenosis and stuff in my neck, arthritis, stenosis, bulging disc, I forgot what they call it, but I had an MRI done and they checked it all out. And, I have all these, I call it structural issues, right? So, not just fibromyalgia, but the fibro does flare it. And I do get, trigger point, tightness and knots. They're chronic and they're in my upper trapezius muscles. And so it's so weird what my body does. So I went through my issue with my neck. It flares up pretty bad and then shoots up to my head and then kind of activates my migraines. But thankfully, the Botox for the migraines, especially the shots they put in the trapezius muscles in the back of my head, help so much to keep the migraine at a minimum. The longevity of the migraine and the severity of the migraine is nothing compared to what it would do, because it used to be daily and then I would get a few hours of a break and back again. It was all the time. So on the topic of migraine, I get in 12 weeks time, I get 1 to 4 migraines, and only 2 of them last more than 3 or 4 hours. And sometimes they get to an extreme with extreme nausea and all that, and sometimes they don't. But anyway, so I had a neck flare for a while, and then also my hip. I have an issue with my hip. I don't know what causes it. I've done everything to treat it, and I do the low inflammation diet and all that stuff. And but my IT band is constantly, I call it clicking, constantly clicking and snapping when I walk on the left side. I try so hard to walk my dogs at least 5 days a week. And when I do, I notice after a while, I start to almost swing or lift my leg up, the left leg, or almost like I'm limping or off balance or something. And it's just from my hip. So I went through a phase of that, and that seemed to get a little bit better. So I had the neck flared up along with my hip, and then everything was a little better. I'm like, well, am I better? And then of course, there's going to be one day I really believe it will just stop for at least a long while would be great. But these things came back, and what I decided to do, I went to a doctor, actually to the immunologist, because one of you guys has suggested that I might have MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. And I've been told that many times, over a dozen, by people that actually have it. And I've been open to looking, because I thought, well, if something can be treated with food and supplements and possibly an antihistamine, I'll try that. Why not, And so anyway, I went to that doctor. It's an immunologist, and he's a nice guy and everything, but it's like a rare thing. But so many of you guys that have fibromyalgia have this too. So I thought, why not? Why not be open instead of being closed-minded and thinking, how stupid is that? So I went to him, and the nurse had went outside the door, and he was like, I could hear really clearly, why is she here? What are we doing today? And he said, she said she's here to be checked for MCAS. And he just busted out with this loud laugh, oh dear, it's a joke, or what kind of kick is she on now, trying to figure out what she has. He comes into the room, and he basically says that, not everything has a disease component. He's like, sometimes you might feel a stomach ache, but it doesn't last forever, and it doesn't mean there's an issue in your body. You just feel it that day and it goes away and whatever. And of course, 100% agree with that. Then he says, fibromyalgia. He's like, you know, sometimes you just feel more than others, and it doesn't mean anything, and you just mind over matter, and you need to exercise, drink more water, and apply lotion. I'm thinking, this guy's out of his mind, and I go into this zone of immediately thinking, okay, he's definitely not understanding what fibromyalgia truly is. I don't just have that, and I also have structural, I call it structural, like issues on my neck. I have had other conditions that are diagnosed through examining and through diagnostic testing and through imaging and all of that. And this is not just, and then he had said to me, like, oh, some people go through like an accident or some trauma, and then they have this fibro, and then they just feel more. And then if they dwell on it and they don't, mind over matter, it overtakes them, which is not true. Absolutely not true. So in my head, after leaving that appointment, and back to it, sorry, he did test me he agreed to test me for stuff, and he said, honestly, like, it's very slim that you have it, but we'll test it anyway. And he did like other testing besides, there's a tryptase test, a serum test, and then there's like all these urine tests that they do. And then he did a CBC and some other extra things that you do along with it. I know that even if it's negative, that you can still have it. So he had told me to go home and to take antihistamine at night to see if it starts helping with some of the symptoms. I did take it for 2 days, and then I ran out, and I need to go and actually get more antihistamine and try that out. And he said to try Claritin or Zyrtec. I've tried both before when I used to have actual regular allergies, and they did help me, and I didn't have any side effects. Right now, I'm trying to stay on point with what I was going to talk about originally, but right now I'm waiting on the test results. What I did do, because he said, oh, and I already knew this because I researched, he said that when you get a colonoscopy or an endoscopy, that they automatically test for MCAS, which is total garbage. They do not test for MCAS by default. They just don't do that. And so I messaged my GI doctor, my gastro doctor, and they just did a colonoscopy. And I said, I messaged him and I said, would you be willing to, actually, I said, do you automatically test for MCAS? Do you know what that is? Would you be willing to call the laboratory and find out if they could run it for MCAS? Might as well, if there's something to treat, and this is what I always say. I'm like, I know this is what I have, and I get it. And it's, it's lifestyle and it's adjustment. But I always tell them I won't ever stop looking. Like, I'm praying, and I'll never stop that. And I pray today, and I'm believing for healing. At the same time, I have a mind and a will and a drive, and I have access to the internet, which shares other people's stories like yours and mine, and people that have certain things or find the source or whatever. And we're all different. It's not all the same. Not everybody's had trauma that has these conditions. Not everybody has had a hereditary whatever. Not everyone has had a spiritual thing. We're all different. We have all come down with the things we've come down with or whatever from different sources. I personally would love to find my source so that I can improve to the best that I can. So, of course, I'm going to look. I'm not going to obsess. I'm not going to search daily for 10 hours a day. But as time goes on, if I'm still having symptoms and I'm not 100% well, I'm going to look. I'm going to ask and seek and check. So I told my GI doctor that, and he was like, oh, no problem. Let me call the lab and have that tested. He's amazing. Out of all my doctors, I've got a rheumatologist that I'm actually a new one I have to go see because my other one left. But I have a rheumatologist in my corner. My GP is getting a lot better, which is my general practitioner, really coming around and totally understanding, like, it's not in my head and this stuff is not made up and it's real. And then I have a doctor for pain management, which I'm going to go and have a, for the stenosis and all the issues in my neck, I'm actually going to go have on the 30th of October a epidural injection of steroid, and really, really hoping that that will kind of like get my neck in order and calm down the inflammation and help me to be able to do these goals that I have to strengthen and get better in like pain and symptom severity and like what happens with my neck. Anyway, I have good doctors on my side, and I'm a lady, so I have a gyno doctor, and this last one I had to go through a couple to get to a good one, and she's great, and she is listens and is helping me in my concerns in other areas of like hormones and like just my overall well-being and women's health and for my age. And so anyway, it's very important to have good doctors on your side. This other doctor, which is the immunologist, he's a good doctor, he's a good guy, but he just does not understand my conditions. And sorry, I'm recording on my phone, and I had a phone call I had to answer. So anyway, what I want to get at is, if you have a doctor that you need for something other than fibro or chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever your major thing is, and you need them and they're a good doctor, in my opinion, I don't think that we should just toss every doctor to the curb if they don't understand or don't validate the major conditions that we have. If they are a good doctor and able to treat or search or whatever and do what you need for the condition that they are good at treating. Your first instinct is like, ugh, why don't you get me? What is wrong with you? Or you're a jerk or whatever. But I have to realize that not everybody totally understands these conditions, and I can't take offense if they don't. And as long as they're not treating that condition, and I'm there for something else, it doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I don't know your thoughts on that. I mean, obviously, if they're acting like you're insane and they're treating you poorly and they're not taking you serious, then, go somewhere else. But this doctor did agree to go ahead and test me for MCAS and didn't blow me off and say I'm crazy, whatever. I know in his mind, he's like, let me just appease this person and rule it out because she's here for this and I'll just do my job. Definitely not like, wow, you probably could have that. Let's look into that. Let's fix it. Even I think his advice would be like, well, if you even have that, all you would end up doing is like taking antihistamines anyway. But obviously that's not all that I would do. I'm already on low inflammatory diet and low histamine diet by default. I didn't even know that. I knew the low inflammatory, but I didn't realize I was on low antihistamine purposely, because it's part of my low inflammation diet to begin with, and I'm off of gluten and dairy anyway. So there you go. Anyway, off the topic of MCAS, I wanted to just hop on here and share that I've just been gone for a little bit because I had that appointment and I thought, okay, let me try mind over matter. Let me try that. Let me just go. I'm not feeling at my worst. Let me just go with this, right? And the crazy thing is, one of you on here had said, would you do a video on pacing? Like what a day in the life of pacing is like with you, because we are all different. Like your day of pacing could be you getting up to like brush your teeth, comb your hair, and taking a nap for 5 hours and then making soup. Or it could be doing 100 things, or it could be never leaving your bed except to go pee. So we all have our different pacing, but I am going to do that. But I just wanted to hop on here and show you the reality of this stuff. So I went to the doctor a little over a week ago, and like I said, I had my neck flare up for weeks. It was really bad, and then my hip was bad, and then I had all my other symptoms that come and go, which is 100. I mean, it easily 100 symptoms, because I just feel everything. And so anyway, I had just focused on, being positive and like doing what I got to do and pacing and all of that. And when this guy had said this to me, I thought to myself, okay, let me give it a try. So I decided, I worked a little bit, and I do hair, and I went to work, and I call it my slow down pacing, where I'll work on a Saturday, and then I do go to church on Sundays. And when I first get up, I'm super, super sore and stiff and exhausted. And I really have to push myself to get up and get myself to church. I get my kids there, actually my daughter there an hour early, because she does a program there. And then I come back and I get myself and my son ready, and then I go. And my husband plays guitar at church, so we don't go together all the time. So I go, and then I stand for worship. Sometimes I have to sit. I sit through the whole thing, and I start to usually feel like sometimes I'm okay, and sometimes I start to feel very uncomfortable, because sitting for a long time or standing for a long time or doing anything for a long period of time causes me symptoms and aggravates my body. And so I go not because I'm obligated, but to hold myself accountable to do that, because I notice when I do go and I come back, like, I was able to do it. So I pushed myself to do that because it's something that I want to do. And so I'll come home, and like, it's an easy day for me. I don't do a lot of cleaning. I chill, I rest, I pace. It's like a calming day for me. I can't do a lot. Then on Monday, Tuesday, I do all the things I got to do, but I do it slowly, because it takes me days to recover from every day that I do anything that involves anything, like any effort. And so anyway, I had decided, after this doctor said, oh, mind over matter, I'm like, okay. So I got up and I walked my dogs like 1.5 miles. And then I came home and I made breakfast, and I did laundry, and I made beds. I have three beds to make. I made beds. I tidied up. I went to each room. Like, I cleaned up a little bit in each room. I cleaned my kitchen. I did dishes. I did laundry, like 3 loads of laundry. And then I was getting I noticed after, actually, I get up at 6:15 or so. By 11 o'clock, I was done. Like, I had to lay down for 1.5 hours. I couldn't do anything. Then I'm like, all right, I still felt exhausted, but I got up and I made myself do other things. So I went into my closet. I have like an armoire type thing, and I took out all the clothes that need to be thrown away, all the clothes that need to be hung up and folded and all of that. I organized all of that, and then I laid down for another hour. Then I got up and I did a few more things. Went to get my kids from school, dropped off my daughter to dance, came home, rested for half an hour, made dinner, then did some things around the house, went to pick up my daughter from dance, came home, and just kept going. And the next day, I got up, and it's always my first instinct. I'm very stiff and sore, and it's like I don't want to get out of bed, and in my head I'm like, I really need to sleep all day. I don't feel good. But I always get up because I'm obligated to do that, and even if I wasn't, I'm very motivated to get up anyway, so I do it. And got my kids to school, walked my dogs. I came back, and I could not, I had no energy, nothing. And when I know that I'm like that, I can tell that what happens is if I go to do things, and I'm describing this because if you have this, I want you to feel like you're relatable, or maybe you're wondering what you have. So I will, if I keep pushing through, I start walking super slow. I get off balance. I start dropping things. I can't think. I get brain fog. I can't really complete a thought. I can't communicate with anybody. I start getting lightheaded and dizzy. And if I keep going, I get syncope, which is where I just start to black out a little bit. And if I keep going, honestly, I don't push past that because I get concerned. Because when I first came down with this, I didn't know what it was years ago, and I ended up in the hospital over it. So I know where to stop. So I got to that point 2 days ago. And as of yesterday, I had to just, I literally, I dropped my kids off to school. I did the dishes. I made a couple beds. I walked my dogs. And by 10:30, I couldn't do anything until almost 2 o'clock. I had to lay in bed and I couldn't do anything. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And when I tell you I can't do anything, it's like I'm physically tired. Like if I go to sit up, I get dizzy, I get lightheaded. My heart will my blood pressure, oh my Lord, my heartbeat, my heart rate is off. It'll go high, like it'll be like 110 or so, and I'm just like sitting there, which isn't high, but by just moving around, everything just gets all out of whack. And so I knew I had to get my kids early because it was a Wednesday from school. And so I just had to lay there. And I hate that because I didn't pace. And because I didn't pace, now I put myself in this position where, and I don't know if I would have got there or not, but most likely not. If I would have paced, I would have not been to the point where I had to lay still for 3.5 hours. That just would not have been a thing, I don't think. And so I had to get up. I went to get them, did what I had to do. And then what happens is I start getting shortness of breath. And the shortness of breath is from the physical fatigue is so bad that then breathing, and like I'll talk to my husband like I'm talking now, and I've had some rest, but I had to stop in between my conversations to calm my body down and try to get in some breaths because I'm so physically fatigued and I cannot stop the shortness of breath unless I lay down and rest, and then I'm fine. And no, it's not anxiety. I've had anxiety before. I've had anxiety attacks. I've had panic attacks back in the day. I know what that is. This is so different. You're just so physically exhausted that the breathing is compromised. Like it takes a lot. So what I did is I had to go and get my daughter from dance that night. I had hours to kill. So I laid down and I did some breathing exercises and I just did what I could to remain calm. I felt like a sharp pain coming into my upper back, and I decided, okay, just in case costochondritis is coming on or something like that, I just laid on a heating pad and I kept myself calm. And then I did a hot Epsom bath and just, mentally kept myself calm and went to get my daughter, brought her home. Everything started to calm down because I stopped going and moving. The breathing got better. I've noticed it a little bit today. So I did a few things and I've been laying here the past 45 minutes and decided to make a video. I do have to leave and do run a few errands. It shouldn't be too strenuous. I'm going to just see how I'm feeling and make sure that I don't do too much. I'm going to do what needs to be done. I have a few places to go to grab a couple of things, and they're very short little shopping stores and they're small. So I think that I'll be just fine. And what I'm going to do is make sure I bring water with me, have plenty of water, and just do my breathing exercises and remain calm and try to not think about it and not mind over matter, but just not dwell on it. And gonna listen to some worship music in my car and do what I gotta do. And I'm really hoping that my intentional rest that I did yesterday and the intentional rest I'm doing in between the things that I absolutely have to do today will start to refuel my energy that I need so that I can work on Saturday. And then I'm off tomorrow. Of course, I don't want to spend my day taking 5 1-hour lay down sessions. That is not how I want to live my life, but I know that is what my body may need to do. And I'm already mentally prepared that if that is the case, it is what it is. I'm not going to be like, because yesterday I was upset about that. I was crying because I'm like, why did I let myself get to this point? And of course, like cleaning your house and the day before that, I did spend 4 hours cleaning my house. I cleaned my house. I got my things in order. I did what I had to do. I took care of my dogs. Like these are normal everyday tasks that like your average person can do no problem at all with sleep or without sleep. And, we can't always do that. And sometimes we can. And sometimes because we can, we keep going because we think that we can. And sometimes nothing happens. And sometimes this happens. So this is where I'm at. And I wanted to share with you because this is real. This is real life for people that have these conditions. So anyway, if you guys want me to do a video on anything in particular, or I don't know, whatever you want to hear about or want me to talk on or share, let me know in the comments, please. And please don't forget to click and subscribe if you're new to here, because I've got a lot of videos coming, a lot of really cool interviews of people coming up, and scroll through and see the videos I have, because I have a lot on here covering a lot of topics, and I do have a couple interviews of some really interesting people that deal with things like you and I, and I think it would be something for you to like just entertain you or learn from, or feel like, hey, I'm not alone. So God bless you and have a great day. Bye.